What's going on YouTube? Ryan and Alex back again for Dopamon, and it's December in Canada. Well, it's December everywhere, I guess. But Canada, one of the biggest international tournaments of the year, every year is the World Junior Hockey Championships, and today we are here again, once again, to talk about them. Today we're going to discuss the roster for the USA team. Last year, as in the tournament held in the summertime, the one that was canceled, the USA were defeated in the quarterfinals by Hreshuk and Team Czechia 4-2, so they'll be looking to bounce back this year. I believe they did win gold the previous year though, so they obviously have been able to do it in the past. The World Junior Championships will start on Boxing Day in Canada, at least it's Boxing Day, December 26th. In the US, it will be in Group B along with Finland, Latvia, Slovakia, and Switzerland, so they'll have a good shot at the top spot in that group, I think.
Of course, we're Dopamon, two best friends, love talking hockey, and we're covering the World Juniors. So if Canada guy, the projected roster for Team Canada as well, hit like and subscribe. But this is about Team USA and the roster that they're bringing.
So before the roster is officially named, we have the initial preliminary invitee list. Right now, I believe it's 32 players. Did we figure that out? 32 players, 4 goaltenders, 10 defensemen, and 18 forwards. Goaltenders here are Trey Augustine, Kaidan Mbereko, Tyler Muszelik, and Andrew Oki. Defenseman Sean Behrens, who is a returnee, Shai Buium, Seamus Casey, Ryan Chesley, Aidan Hreshuk, Luke Hughes, who I believe is also a returnee, Lane Hutson, Luke Mittelstadt, Jack Peart, and Ryan Ufko.
And for the forwards, we have Jackson Blake, Gavin Brindley, Tyler Boucher, Kenny Connors, Logan Cooley, who is also returning, Jack Devine, Dylan Duke, Cutter Gauthier, Noah Laba, Ryan Leonard, Sam Lipkin, Chaz Lucius, Cam Lund, Rutger McGroarty, Red Savage, who's also returning, Will Smith, Jimmy Snuggerud, and also returning at the very end here, Charlie Stramel.
So obviously not everyone is going to be on this team. I believe there are some guys who are more obvious than others. We're going to go through our predictions here for a full roster. That's 3 goalies, 7 defensemen, and 13 forwards with 2 extras. I believe that's what we figured out is the rule. I know the under 20 tournaments and other 18 tournaments have an extra player in there. So you will see on the bench that we'll have 7 defensemen or 13 forwards or whatever it is. So there'll be a couple extra players than you would see on a professional lineup anyway, or an NHL team. But we'll start here with the goalies. I think it's pretty easy who starts. I believe it'll be Kaidan Mbereko. We have Trey Augustine and Andrew Oki as our backup and third stringer, although I do think it's going to be a little bit of a more competitive, it'll be more competitive for the backup than it will be the starter. I think Kaidan Mbereko will be the starter. He was a starter last year for Team USA. He had a .921 save percentage in 4 games and was 3-1. I think he's the guy you go with. Trey Augustine is actually a 17-year-old. He's an eligible prospect for this upcoming draft. He has not been drafted, obviously. He's currently playing for the U.S. National Team Development Program, and he is committed to Michigan State University for the 23-24 season. So he's kind of the goalie of the future for that program, so that's why I have him there as a backup. And Andrew Oki plays in the Saginaw Spirit, for the Saginaw Spirit in the OHL. 18-year-old undrafted goalie, and I didn't say it either, but Kaidan Mbereko is also undrafted.
Yes, of the 4 goaltenders that were invited, we picked here the 3 that are 2023 draft eligibles. Tyler Muszelik was a 2022 draft pick by Florida in the 6th round, and cut him. I think that there's a lot of hope, a lot of good potential in the goaltending coming out of the U.S. And I think guys like Mbereko and Augustine are it. It's going to be I think it's going to be a tough choice even between them. Even you say the starter is clear. You know what? I think that any one of these goaltenders could really take that. They're all really great.
I mean, they'll both get starts. Generally, you don't see the starter, whoever it is, get every single game. There's
Mhm.
the odd back-to-back in the World Juniors that are scheduled, so they'll give a shot to the other guy, and if he really impresses, there have been times in the past where that goalie just takes it, runs. So you're right, could be absolutely every one of them, but I think if we're gonna label one a starter, I think Mbereko takes it.
Yeah, this is a team that's expected to make a medal run.
Yeah.
So, one of these guys is going to be playing, a bronze or gold medal game to be, expected. So, and on to our D. Our first pair, Luke Hughes and Ryan Chesley. Luke Hughes, 4th overall in 2021 by the New Jersey Devils, joining brother Jack. I think it's pretty cool. He
awesome.
is undeniably the number 1 D for this team. Am I right?
I think so.
He's an incredible skater.
Stretch.
Great, great at both ends of the ice, but I think especially offensively, they're going to need, a guy quarterback in it, and he is going to be relied on a lot for that, I think, just at both ends. And Ryan Chesley, a 2nd-round pick, 37th overall by the Washington Capitals in 2022. And you know what? I think that these two together are going to make a great pair. Ryan Chesley, more of, I want to call him like a specific type of kind of two-way guy. He's really good at the breakout. He's really good in his own zone. He knows how to be physical. And I think that mixed with Luke Hughes, the two of them together are going to be a great combo.
Yeah, I think this combo I think that's your top two. I think Ryan Chesley is the Mark Mathot to Luke Hughes' Erik Karlsson. Maybe not to obviously to the same extent, but that's kind of the vibe I'm getting from this pair. One is very offensive and one is steady. Second pairing. I like this pairing as well. We've got a good top 4 in the US. We have Lane Hutson and Seamus Casey. Lane Hutson, Boston University NCAA, was picked in the 2nd round, 62nd overall by the Montreal Canadiens. To a lot of Twitter scouts' chagrin, he was very highly touted. He's only 5'8". That's why he was bumped down a lot of people's lists. So he is 18 playing in the NCAA, but he is tearing it up with 17 points in 14 games down there for Boston University. That's essentially unheard of for an 18-year-old freshman. Last year in the USDP, he had 63 points in 60 games. So he's a offensive scoring guy. He'll probably be running power play 2 after Luke Hughes, and if Luke Hughes either goes down with injury, it'll be his offense to run. Seamus Casey, we have here is another undersized defenseman. He's 5'9", so it'll be a little interesting, but he has the right shot. Plays in University of Michigan, so another U.S. NCAA player. 16 points in 18 games down there. Again, both these guys kind of along the same path here. Undersized, maybe dropped a little bit in the draft. Casey was 2nd round, 46th overall to the New Jersey Devils in 2022. Hutson was 62nd overall in 2022. So similar paths as far as undersized guys who are a little bit offensive, who are killing it in their freshman year in the NCAA program. So interesting to watch those two.
Now that we have our top 4 out, I would like to mention Chesley and Hutson have played together as a pair, but you know what? That top 2 of Hughes and Chesley, I feel like you just got to put the best out there. Yeah. Chemistry might not be it. And I do want to mention, Lane Hutson, he did drop in the draft, but that doesn't mean that in a U20 tournament, that means anything. He is, against his own peers. I see why he dropped in the draft for size. It happens, but in a U20 tournament, that size, sometimes, you can, when you're against kids who might not be as physically developed as the NHL, you can still take advantage. And I can see Lane Hutson taking advantage in this tournament, which brings us to our third pairing. We have Shai Buium and Jack Peart. Buium, 6'3". He is big. He's a 2nd-round pick by the Detroit Red Wings in 2021, 36th overall. And Jack Peart, he's a little bit smaller, 5'11", 2nd-round pick by the Minnesota Wild, 54th overall in 2021. But what I like about this third pair is that both can move their legs. They're both incredible skaters. They both know how to move it. And, with a third pair, that's just That's what you really want, guys who can move their legs, guys who aren't going to cost you. And when you have a guy like Jack Peart, who is so good defensively and still small, with a guy like Shai Buium, who is bigger and still defensive, and can still move his legs for his size, I think that they're going to be a great shutdown pair together.
All right, our extra defenseman here. And one of these guys I can kind of see moving up and down the lineup. But like I said, they can have 7 defensemen playing in the game on the bench. So you might see this guy kind of be the rover, the guy who jumps up and down the lineup, takes the extra shift away from certain guys. And I'm specifically here talking about Sean Behrens. And we also have Aidan Hreshuk making this team in our prediction. Sean Behrens was on this team last year. He's 5'10". He's a second-round pick, 61st overall. He was picked right ahead of Lane Hutson. University of Denver player, has 8 points in 14 games down there. I think he could be. He played one game in the World Juniors last year. It wasn't a huge, part of this team, but I think with his experience there, I think he's a perfect player to have as your 7th defenseman in the game to kind of be the rover up and down your lineup. And then we also have Aidan Hreshuk, who's a 3rd-round pick, 94th overall by the Carolina Hurricanes. Another college product here, Boston College. Has no points in 14 games, but I think is a really good defender, and he's a very good rush defender, and I think they need players like that when they're going to go up against very big rush teams like Finland and Canada, potentially in this tournament.
Yeah, they will be facing a lot of speed.
Yeah.
And on to our forward lines here. Our first one, Cutter Gauthier on the wing with down the middle, Logan Cooley, and on the right wing, Jimmy Snuggerud. Cutter Gauthier, 6'2", 5th overall in the 2022 by the Philadelphia Flyers. I felt like that was a little bit of a shock, but there were people who around the draft were saying, take a shot on this kid. And I think Boston College, 12 points in 12 games, 8 goals. He is scoring, and that's one thing that can't be taken away from him. His goal scoring is undeniable. And I think that he will be expected to kind of lead that kind of dynamic offense right in front of the net for this team. Down the middle, of course, Logan Cooley, 3rd overall in 2022. He is going to be the Arizona Coyotes' #1 center. He is their center of the future. It's obvious. He is killing it in the University of Minnesota right now. He can do a little bit of everything. And not just offensively, defensively, incredible skating. He's physical. He's got everything. And then on the right wing, Jimmy Snuggerud, another player that I think is going to work really well on this line, just based off of chemistry. He was a 22 draft pick as well. They all were 23rd overall for the St. Louis Blues. And Snuggerud, he has this type of playmaking ability that I feel like this line has the kind of an EA NHL kind of chemistry where you have a guy like Cutter Gauthier who, he creates so well off the wing. He's going to play wing in this tournament. Logan Cooley can do a lot of everything. And Snuggerud's a guy who can create plays, not just passing plays, but scoring plays for himself. And Cutter Gauthier being so dangerous every time these 3 are on the ice. I think it's an obvious first line. They are just so dangerous. And that's like, yes. This is the combination, and I love it.
Yeah, it looks like it gels everything together. It's really nice, well put together. Second line here, we have Chaz Lucius, the draft-eligible Will Smith, and Tyler Boucher. So, I'll talk about the first two. Chaz Lucius here, right shot. We're putting him on the left side, but he does play some center too. Was a first round pick, 18th overall by the Winnipeg Jets in 2021. He's currently playing with the Manitoba Moose in the AHL. He's got 5 points in 12 games there. He's playing very well. Will Smith, like I said, is draft eligible as of this year. Everyone seems to have him in their first round so far. Right shot, centerman, playing in the U.S. National Team Development Program. In the U18 team, he has 45 points in 24 games over there. And playing really, really well. I think absolutely can be the second line center on this team. Maybe he's a little bit high as far as his, everyone calls this a 19-year-old's tournament, but I do think he has absolutely the ability to run this second line. And the third is Tyler Boucher, but since you're the Sens fan, I'm going to let you take his report here from him.
And you know what? His play in the OHL has been underwhelming. And I don't want to say I'm surprised that he's like been, has made the roster. I definitely think he has, all the tools. He's got the physicality, but it's just something isn't working in the OHL with the 67s right now, who are a pretty good team.
Yeah, they're best team in the O, I think.
Yeah, they're all right. and he's just kind of there. And I want to see him shine somewhere, and like prove that he's worth 10th overall by the Ottawa Senators. Like that was a reach, and I want to see what they see in him. He is big. There is nobody more physical in the tournament. He might hurt somebody. He can be, he can be a game changer, especially on a line with dangerous talent like Lucius and Smith. Smith, by the way, completely blowing expectations out of the water.
Yeah,
I think he's having a great season. I have him in my first round as well. So,
yeah, perfect. Yeah, but in the O, you expect a highly touted prospect to really put up the points in the OHL, and he only has 14th in 15 games for the Ottawa 67s, playing a pretty significant role. So, I get what you say there.
I want to see him. The second line for the 67s is not the second line for the Team USA World Juniors. Like this is a step up, and I wanted to take that. And that goes to our third line. We have Rutger McGroarty, Redmond Savage, and Jack Devine. Of course, this line was put together because they have the best names on the team.
Yes.
But also, I think that this would be a great energy line. Rutger McGroarty, I think he can also play center. I think they can. So could Redmond Savage. They could swap. One of them can take the face off. They can swap back and forth. First round pick, 14th overall in 2022 to the Winnipeg Jets. I think that he might be able to be the second line center on this team if Will Smith just, like you said, it's a 19-year-olds tournament. If he isn't cutting it, he could definitely take that step. He's got, in my opinion, I think that consistency sometimes an issue, but otherwise when he's clicking, he can be that guy to be in a 2C behind Logan Cooley. Absolutely. He's got the skill, he's got the speed, full package when he's going. Redmond Savage, I think he's also like while being an energy guy, he likes to produce a lot offensively. He was a 4th round pick in 2021 for the Detroit Red Wings. I think that just his presence down the middle for a team that is clearly going to have a strong offense in their top 6 is going to be important, as well as Jack Devine, right winger, another guy with a great motor, 7th round pick in 2022. I think that was a huge drop. I know a lot of people had him way higher, Jack Devine, in their draft rankings. I personally did. I see a lot in him. I think he's got skill, energy, and third line guy. Great for this team. I think that like you said earlier about their D needing, Aidan Hreshuk being a guy who can defend the rush. They're going to need some quick energy guys who are also forwards. Your forwards have to be part of your defense, and they're going to be a part of it.
Absolutely. And the thing I like about this line, too, is if you had called this the second line and the Lucius Smith Boucher the third line,
for sure.
I mean, either one. I think this is kind of 2A, 2B. People talk about 1A, 1B all the time. I think this middle 6 guys that you have here is pretty solid, and they can play a lot of different roles for you. And our fourth line here. I've hidden the third line. Wait a minute. There it is. Dylan Duke, Cameron Lund, and Gavin Brindley. Now, Dylan Duke from Strongville, Ohio. Love that name. He's a centerman for the University of Michigan. It's a Tampa Bay Lightning draft pick, round 426th overall. He's killing it, and the University of Michigan is always a scary team. 17 points in 18 games down there. Cameron Lund, not to be confused with the Lind in the NHL. San Jose Sharks draft pick, second round, 34th overall in 2022. Northeastern University guy, 12 points in 16 games down there. And we also, almost did it again, we also have Gavin Brindley, University of Michigan guy, top prospect eligible for this upcoming draft, is not drafted yet. He's 5'9". He's a little short, on the shorter, diminutive side. But he has 10 points in 18 games there for the University of Michigan. He's part of the World Junior U18 team, so he has a lot of experience with this program internationally. And yeah, you were the one that talked me into Gavin Brindley on this line. We didn't originally have him here.
I think that he is performing very well with the University of Michigan, and he's showing that there's a lot more to his game than he's shown, and that he can produce at a higher level. I could maybe see him entering this top 9 and, and maybe breaking into the first round on a lot of people's draft boards. It's really up to him. I think that an opportunity like this is where a guy like him shines. This tournament last year, Rutger McGroarty, you have a name on there, a guy that used this tournament to really get on the, step into a top 9 role. And I think he's the guy that might, really have a good tournament. And if he's invited, I can see him having a good camp as well and being invited to this team. So I want to have him on this team just because I'm hopeful on him and I like him.
Leaves us with our extra guys here, Alex.
Yeah, down the middle as our 13th forward, we have Charlie Stramel. He's 6'3", currently playing in the University of Wisconsin. Up until a few games ago, he didn't start the season very well. And I wasn't too sure on his play. I think that when you're playing in the NCAA as one of the youngest players possible, it's difficult. Stramel is 6'3". He's big, but that doesn't mean you can compete in the NCAA. So there is some growing he has to do, and maybe he doesn't look great. I see him maybe falling on a lot of draft boards, but at a U20 tournament, I think that he will have a chance to maybe take a step and play a big role. He was on this team last year. He played a game. He got an assist. I can see them inviting him again. That's simple. And our extra forward, Ryan Leonard, another 2023 NHL eligible. He plays center. Playing really well with the U.S. national team development program. He's another guy like Gavin Brindley. I think that a tournament like this could really have him jumping up the draft rankings. He's small. He's got a lot of skill, and he can score. He can put the puck in the net. So a team like this, Gavin Brindley or Ryan Leonard, when you're talking about like you said, the second line could be the third line. The third line can be the second line. Either one of Brindley or Leonard, I think, could really step into that role and be a second or third line guy that absolutely scores. So I like what I see, not just in the top 6 and the top 9, but in their depth here. I really like it.
Absolutely. And that's our team. Guys, we cut Tyler Muszelik in goal, Luke Mittelstadt and Ryan Ufko on defense, Jackson Blake, Kenny Connors, Noah Laba, Sam Lipkin. That's it from our forward core. So,
cut from this team, notable omissions. There is Ty Voigt and Sasha Pastujov.
Yeah, both OHL guys. So I don't know if that had anything to do with this. One of their goalies is a Saginaw Spirit, so I don't know if that. I don't know if
Boucher's a 67, right?
Boucher's a 67. It's not like they don't have OHL guys outside of the American system, but yeah, Sasha Pastujov recently traded to the Sarnia Sting. Was a Guelph Storm. We weren't that high on him in his draft year. He did drop. He's an Anaheim Ducks prospect. I could see why. I don't know. It's tough because I think he was on this team last year, right? So it's tough to see that guy not get invited. He's definitely just cut before training camp even began, essentially. And Ty Voigt, the Toronto Maple Leafs draft pick, who is leading the OHL in scoring currently with the Sarnia Sting, is absolutely, maybe it's just a Sarnia thing. I don't know. But yeah, he's both guys, I think, huge notable omissions. Ty Voigt, I'm less surprised about because of he's a pure playmaker, and smaller guy, and I think you can have a guy like Gavin Brindley on this team instead of Ty Voigt, and be, in the American system, yada yada yada. But Sasha Pasajov, I'm a little bit surprised about.
Yeah, Ty Voigt he hasn't been a part of the U.S. national team development program. A lot of these guys on this roster have played together for a while. So, they don't want to mess it up with bringing too many guys from the OHL. I get why Tyler Boucher would be an easy add-in just because of, the physicality and skills he brings. Sasha Pastajov, it's the rest of the U.S. team has kind of just gotten better faster than him. I feel like, the parts of his game, the reasons that he dropped, he hasn't overcome, and you can't bring him.
Yeah, I'm definitely curious to see what you guys think of this American squad. Let us know in the comments section down below who you guys think was kind of absent from this squad, or let us know if you think our lines are insane or Kaidan Mbereko is never going to start. Who knows? Let us know down in the comments section. Thank you so much for watching. We'll have the rest of the rosters as they are announced coming up to the channel, and we can't wait for the World Juniors. Peace.